Hi guys, welcome back to the Mina Does Art Stuff YouTube channel. My name is Mina and on this channel we do art stuff. So first off, I'd like to say I'm not feeling 100% great, so if my voice sounds a bit hoarse, a bit weird, that's why. If I sound a bit out of breath, that's also why, because I'm a bit bunged up. Anyway, I wanted to film today. I would have normally done this as a voiceover just because I'm not feeling great, but something fun arrived in the post today and I wanted to share it with you guys. So this is something I actually pre-ordered back in February, and if you remember, I said in one of my earlier videos that I was the one where I was experimenting with oil pastels and watercolor, and I was saying I was really inspired by Irit Landgraf here on YouTube. And anyway, so back in January she came out with a watercolor stamp set. Did I pre-order it in January or February now? I can't remember. Anyway, earlier this year. And she came out with a stamp set to use with watercolors. Now, I've never used stamps before in any real context to do with like creating art and stuff, but I really like the idea of this for swatching out palettes and just playing with different colors. And I love doing that when I can't think of what to paint. I just love playing with color. Anyway, so I pre-ordered her stamp set and I ended up having it sent to my parents' house. So it took a while before I got it, and it finally arrived this morning. It actually arrived a couple of weeks ago, but like I said, because it went to my parents' house, I didn't actually get it until today. My mum finally posted it on to me, which was great. And so these are all the different stamps you get in it, and these are the actual stamps. And because I've never done this before, I did actually go ahead and buy some acrylic blocks and stuff to put them on, and some ink as well from Amazon. I will link these below as well. I'm not entirely sure if I got the right size acrylic blocks. It was kind of like a multi-pack, so we're going to try these out and see. I think the largest one should fit on that. Just about. Maybe a little bit small for this one, but it's fine. I'm not actually planning on using the swatch card one at the moment, although that will be useful in the future. I'm more interested in these other ones that are on here as well. Anyway, we're going to play around with these. I think most of these will fit on these blocks that I have, and I have some smaller ones that might fit. It should fit some of these smaller ones as well, so that should be fine. So yeah, we're going to play around with these. I got my paints out. I'm kind of working through this palette. A lot of the wells have been used up and a few others are almost finished, so I'm just kind of working my way through this palette right now. It's a mixed brand palette, so I'll try and remember to mention what colors I'm using and what brands they're from as we go along. And the other thing that I really am looking forward to using this for is to document different color stories, different color palettes that I really like together. So, and that's partly why I got this sketchbook. So this is that Jackson's watercolor sketchbook that I showed in the first art haul I did on this channel. It's got quite thin paper, but I thought it would be a really good book to use to document different like color stories, playing with color experiments, etc, etc, etc. So I thought we'd have some fun. Let's get to opening this stuff up, getting it all set up, and then trying them out. Okay, so I've gotten most of these onto some acrylic blocks, and this one actually I've double-sided it, so I've got some on this side and some on the back, so that's handy. Got the ink pad, so hopefully this works alright. So this is supposed to be waterproof, stays on solvent ink pad. It's supposed to be waterproof against water, I guess. Sorry, clearly I'm not 100% feeling great today, but let's have a bit of play. So I've just got some scraps of watercolor paper here we can play around with. So let's just try some of these. And so it's great. These ones in particular, they're meant to represent different size pans for watercolors. So the big ones are full pans and the little ones are small pans. So I have some here that you can see. So these are little half pans and these are the full pans. So it's great. So if you want to like do a swatch card for your palette, you can use the right size stamp to represent each of your colors. So let's try out some of these ones. One's supposed to be like a color mixing stamp. So that'll be fun to play with. Now I'm doing this on cold pressed paper, so there's a bit of texture, and that's why some of the stamps aren't 100% stamping smoothly, but that's fine. We're just playing around. All right, I'm gonna put the lid on that. That ink smells. Okay. And let's just play around with these. Let me grab a paintbrush, that would be handy, wouldn't it? So let's just do some swatches. So this first one is Indian Yellow by De La Rowney. I'm just randomly picking colours off my palette. No particular rhyme or reason for what I'm picking. And then we have, this is M. Graham's Quinacridone Rust. It's really lovely burnt orange. Then what should we do? We'll do M. Graham Quinacridone Red. This is a beautiful sort of like corally colour that I really like. And then lastly, we'll go for the Cobalt Blue Deep. This is a really unique sort of colour. Not many brands offer this. This one's by De La Rowney. It's a really lovely blue. It's semi-opaque. Cobalt colours tend to be a little bit on the opaque side. And then we'll do good old sap green. I think this one's also a De La Rowney version. And I'll do an olive green. This is my favourite version of an olive green. This one's by Sennelier. It's a really vibrant olive green when it's washed out. And then we'll go for a Cobalt Turquoise. This one I think is a Rembrandt one. This one's a bit dirty because I've had other colours muddied in there, but it's a really beautiful colour on its own. Another one of my favourite colours is Prussian Blue. This one I think is De La Rowney's version. I love how inky blue it is, but then it also washes out to a really lovely light blue. Then what other colours should we go for? Let's do Burnt Umber. I think this one's by Rembrandt as well. It's really nice, sort of slightly on the warm side brown. Really good colour to have for mixing. I'll do a Quinacridone Gold, or this is actually called Nickel Quinacridone Gold by M. Graham. Then we should do Opera Pink. This one's actually called Opera. This is just called Rose Opera by Sennelier. Really bright sort of fluorescent pink colour. It's really nice in mixes. I wouldn't necessarily use it on its own that much. And finally, okay, we'll go for Madder Lake Red Light by White Nights. This is like an alizarin crimson type colour. It's another favourite colour of mine. Love how that looks. Okay, so let's do some colour mixes. What should we mix? So let's do a mix of Sap Green with Madder Lake Red Light. So red and green are complements to each other on the colour wheel. Complementary, so they should neutralize to a degree, and we'll see how well they neutralize, because not all reds will perfectly neutralize all greens. It's because they have different undertones, but we'll see how this works. So there's green and there's the red. Probably get some sort of shade of brown when we mix these. Interesting, so you get a nice sort of like warm earthy brown when you mix that red with that green. Now if I had a more blue leaning green, it probably would have turned out more grey, but I don't. So let's try a classic French Ultramarine and Burnt Umber. Well, actually the classic is French Ultramarine and Burnt Sienna, but I don't have that one on my palette, so we're going to try it with Burnt Umber. It also works with Burnt Umber as well. So this French Ultramarine is from My Merry Blue, I think, if I'm not mistaken. My Burnt Umber, like I said, is from Rembrandt. It's from Rembrandt. There we go. So I'm gonna just clean some space in my palette. I'm not too like fussed. Just doesn't have to be super scientific, just playing around. And finally, since we're doing complements, because brown is kind of like a darker orange colour, so orange and blue are complements, or complementary, green and red, and so then we'll do yellow and purple while we're at it. So we'll go with the Indian yellow, it's nice bright yellow. And then we're going to mix that with a really dark, deep dioxazine purple. So now dioxazine purple is a very strong tinting colour, whereas yellow usually is not that strong of a tinting colour, so we've got to be careful with the mixes here, that they don't get overpowered with the purple. I'm gonna add some yellow. Now because yellow is not a super strong tinting colour, like it's not as strong as the dioxazine purple, you're not going to get really greys, you'll get lots of like browns essentially with purple and yellow. There we go. It's a really fun set. So these are the mixes, complementary mixes. There we go, you can sort of see that a bit better. Really nice neutrals in the middle there, or at least like neutralized-ish of the main colors. So it's always great, like if you want to mute down a green, then you know you need to add in a bit of red, or if you want to mute down a blue, you can add in a bit of brown or orange, and the same with yellow and vice versa. So it's a really good way, you know, it means you can always start with having really bright colors and then mute them with their complement rather than a grey or a black. It's one of the reasons why a lot of watercolor artists don't actually have a black on their palette or a grey or like a pre-mixed dark, because you can just mute your colors by using their complements if you know a bit of color theory. Anyway, I will leave a link to Irit's channel and her playlist where she goes through showing you how to use the different stamps in her stamp set, and it's lots of fun. Her videos are really beautifully done and very bright and colourful and appeal to my love of rainbows. So yeah, I'll leave a link to those in the description box below. This palette set, this stamp set is not currently available. It was only a pre-order at the time. But I believe she's planning on offering it again for a pre-order, a second round, and she might also be doing some additional stamps, but don't quote me on that. It's just something I heard her mention, I think. So like I said, I'll leave a link to her channel and to her video playlist for the series that she did on the palette stamps, and I highly recommend you check that out if you're interested in these stamp sets, in this particular stamp set. And if you would like to, I'd suggest you subscribe to her channel just because it's beautiful and her videos are lovely. And yeah, and I guess that's where she'll announce if she's doing another round of orders on these stamps if you're interested in them.
Okay, so before I leave you guys for today, I just wanted to show you I did some little playing around with some of the other stamps in the set, specifically this color wheel one. And yeah, I had lots of fun with it, and I sort of played around with a uh, uh, four color palette that I'm really enjoying at the moment and did some mixes and stuff. I actually have a separate video where I'm going to go over this four color palette in more detail, but I wanted to include this at the end of this video just so you could see me using it here. And also I wanted to say, if you enjoy this video, if you've enjoyed this video and you enjoy videos like this, then please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about it. I do plan on having more videos coming out very soon, so I will see you guys again on another day. All right, bye.